Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It is that time of year again where the Tarkov wipe is looming. It is right here, right around the corner. So I am coming to you guys today for some early game tips and tricks that will hopefully help your guys' wipe get off to a good start. And fingers crossed, set you guys up for the rest of your wipe. Now, some of the advice I'm going to give here, you don't have to follow all of it. Obviously, you know, if you see something I've said, you know, put that into your own gameplay, whatever, do your thing. And everything that is listed here, as I said, you don't have to do all of it, but you might find a lot of the info in this video quite helpful to you. Now, before we get into it, lads, I'd very much appreciate it if you guys like these videos and you want to support myself. Please make sure to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment down below. Let me know your early wipe tips and tricks, maybe some of your loot runs. So, with all of that being said, the first thing, your very first raid this wipe needs to be accept the quest that allows you to go and find Jaeger's letter on woods. Go and immediately unlock Jaeger in your very first raid. This will give you access to all of his, well, most of his shotguns, and it'll also give you access to the 133s, which I believe do not need to be found in raid anymore, so it'll let you just buy those, circumvent having to find those damn things on scavs in the early game, because God knows they're rarer than lead X's, and that will just make your start so much easier. Go and get Jaeger unlocked, very first thing you do. Now, while you're at it and you are there on woods, there are a lot of med spawns on woods. Now, you're going to want to grab your Salewas here as well. The best place to do this, and the place that I do this damn near every single wipe, is you go straight to the medical camp, which is on the side of Old Woods. It's kind of near the lake. Random med spawns absolutely everywhere. What you're going to want to do, go in there, try and grab your Salewas. As soon as you get your Salewas, get out. Forget everything else. Just get your Salewas grabbed so you can progress your therapist questline and hopefully unlock your car medkits kind of ASAP, and then you can just use your car medkits. If you want to just come back to woods and do a couple of raids, just bring an MBSS with you, grab as many meds as you can, and just gamma as much, or put it in your secure container, as many meds as possible. This will end up saving you a lot of money in the early game from buying like AI2s and splints and all that other kind of stuff. If you can find like just one alu splint and then like one golden star or like Vaseline or something like that, and then or like you could find like a Salewa or an IFAK or something like that to keep in your container, you won't have to worry as much about, you know, bringing a bunch of slices of cheese with you every single raid that you do. So that should be the very first thing that you do. Now, moving on to the next item, gas analyzers. Every single wipe I get people coming into my stream, I can't find my gas analyzers anywhere, right? I have two tips for you guys, okay? The first thing I'm going to tell you, if you want to get gas analyzers and you want to do it whilst being left alone, okay? Nighttime interchange. For whatever reason, at the start of wipes, because I always do this, nobody ever does them. What you want to do is you're going to go straight to the tech stores, okay? You're going to check all those. You're going to check German, which is right across from Mantis in the center of the mall as well. Obviously, keep an eye out for Killa. If you see him, avoid him or run away. Do not fight him under any circumstances. Check German there. Check Rasmussen, check Texo, then check Techlight. I might have confused them. I'm pretty sure Techlight's the one upstairs. So you want to go check all those, and if you don't find any gas analyzers there, what you're going to want to do, go back to the middle of the mall, go into the store. It's across from Brutal. It's called... I haven't played Tarkov in like a week right now, so it's kind of slipping my mind. But there's a store in there. You guys surely know it. It's the one that has like the 6 filing cabinets in there back to back. It's right across from Brutal along the main strip of the mall. Right in front of you is Goshan. The shop should be on your right. And what you're going to want to do, loot every single one of those filing cabinets. If there's no gas analyzers there, you're going to want to run to IDEA, go to the back offices of IDEA. Obviously, be mindful of all the scavs, and Killa can, of course, be there as well. And just get there, grab your gas analyzers, and get out. This might take you a couple of raids, but it shouldn't take you too long. One other thing you can do as well is you can go to customs, and while you're looting dorms, while you're looting all the jackets in dorms for all of your keys, you can also be hitting all of the filing cabinets in dorms as well. A lot of people sleep on the filing cabinets, but you can get gas analyzers, you can get keys, you can get tons and tons of early game items that are really fantastic and required for your hideout, amongst a ton of other quest items and a ton of other items that you can collect to do basically free barter trades for a lot of really good guns from Mechanic. Now, guns in the early game, okay? I'm going to say one thing. Stay away from 545 guns. stay away from like running, you know, M4s and all that other kind of stuff, because like early game, those guns are very jumpy, they're very bouncy. They're also expensive to run, and the early game ammo you get for them is absolutely terrible. Now, the thing about the early game in Tarkov, it's about shooting as straight as possible because people don't have visors for quite a while, okay? So guns that have no recoil, we're talking about SMGs. SMGs in the early game is where they shine the absolute brightest. So a couple of guns that will just carry you through the early game. You've got the PP19, and then you've got the other one, the Vichas, which is the semi-automatic one. Obviously, preferably, you're going to want the PP19 so you can, you know, fire it full auto. You've also got Ketters, which you can get on your scav runs all the time. You can also get PP19s on your scav runs as well, but just watch the weapon damage on them. They might be kind of prone to damage or prone to jamming. And also, do not underestimate how strong shotguns are in the early game. Shotguns are incredibly strong in the early game in Tarkov. I see a lot of people, they just dismantle their shotguns, sell the parts, sell them to fence. Every time I pick up a shotgun in the early game, oh, that's a budget gun. I can take that in for a loot run. And I can use it to very easily kill scavs. I can use it to easily kill players. With shotguns, you've got two types of ammo. You've got like buckshots, and then you've got slugs. You just pick whichever one. If you're going to woods, bring slugs. If you're going anywhere else that might have some CQB combat, bring buckshot. You've got the UMP, you've got the MP5, and you've got the MPX. If you get any of these guns in raid, do not sell them. Keep them. Just stick an optic on the MPX. Stick a really cheap foregrip on it. Guns a beam. It is great. Same thing with the UMP. Stick some crappy sight on it and then put a foregrip on it. That's it. Nothing else. You don't need to suppress any of these guns. You don't need to do anything like that. As far as the MP5 is concerned, you can run it with the irons if you want. The thing that sucks about the MP5 in the early game of Tarkov is that the MFI mount for it is always sold out. So if you happen to find some of those mounts, keep them for your MP5s. Slap an optic on there, off you go. If you find an MP5 SD, you have likely just found the best early game gun in the game, because it has damn near no recoil. It's an absolutely phenomenal little gun. An OPS case, you want to make sure it has the dovetail mount on it. You put a PSO scope on it. That is your early game DMR. That will do absolutely everything for you. It'll kill bosses, it'll kill players, it'll kill scavs, and it will also give you a pretty decent amount of range to sit somewhere and pick people off from a distance. So do not sleep on the SKSs. Make sure you always keep those. And a great way to acquire some of these guns, I've made a video about this before. In the early game, every single time you do a regular raid and you get out of it, always do a scav run. Now, I know a lot of people, oh, I don't like doing scav runs. Scav runs are boring, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I don't like doing scav runs either. But in the early game of Tarkov, what I will do is I will go scav on factory and I will sprint immediately to my extract. I won't even check what my scav has. And then once I extract, if he has any useful stuff on him, bear in mind in the early game, your scavs, no, not just the early game, they're like throughout the entirety of the wipe, can just have random things in their backpack. They can have gas analyzers, they can have graphics cards, they can have Salewas, they can have all kinds of meds, ammo, all this random stuff. I've had lion statues, all kinds of random stuff. So treat your scav as if it's your lucky scav junk box in your hideout, and do it every single time it's on cooldown, because you never know when you're going to get some awesome random items in your backpack amongst, you know, quest keys as well. Like, you can get tons of free stuff. Also, not only that, your scav spawns with armor, your scav spawns with a gun. You can take all of that, put it straight onto your PMC, and then you've got a kit immediately ready to go. You survive a couple of raids in a row. Every time you survive a raid, you do your scav run anyway, and then you've got backup kits for when you die on your PMC, and you won't feel as bad because you might have like 2, 3, maybe 4 kits ready to go from your scavs that cost you absolutely nothing. And so even if you die with those kits, you're not losing anything. Now, here we go for mechanic. Okay, save your GP coins. You can get really nice P90s from mechanic at level 20. Also, there's a really nice M4 build as well there for GP coins. Also, save up your blue tapes. Now, these are sometimes very expensive for when people are doing them on the or using them for the sick case trade. I think you need them for the hideout as well. But if you're looking for them, you can find them everywhere. If you're looting lots of filing cabinets, you'll probably have tons of blue tape. You can save up all of these. You can either sell them on the flea market, or you can trade them for an EBR, which is a really fantastic DMR. A lot of people sleep on it. Nobody ever uses it. So depending on what the price is like, you might want to sell them on the flea, or take an EBR, grab some M80s for it, and go boss killing or player killing. 3 weapon parts for like this nice Tapco SKS. Weapon parts, super easy to find, common absolutely everywhere. Grab all of those. You've also got to trade for DVDs, UV lamps, and weapon parts for a really nice kitted MPX that has a Bravo scope on it. You can definitely sell for way more. You can the DVDs, the UV lamps, and the weapon parts. Or you can just take the gun out for a spin. What I would recommend doing, take the Bravo off it. Doesn't need to go on the MPX at all. Maybe put the PK06 that's on the Bravo just onto the rail. Just run the gun as it is then. Also, I think you get a shift grip with that too. So you can actually keep that shift grip for your later gunsmith parts, because the shift grips do end up selling for a lot of money on the flea market. So you'll end up saving yourself probably 100 to 150k depending on the price. Once you guys unlock Jaeger, revolver shotguns, and double barrels, fantastic economy weapons. Same goes for the revolvers. Revolvers will one-tap headshot anybody that's not wearing a helmet, and they're super cheap, super cheerful. They don't weigh anything, and you've got 2 open gun slots with it, so you can take extra loot out of your raids with you as well. So for those of you that like the revolvers, make sure you use them in the early game, because that is where they are at their most useful. One other tip here for you guys, try and get to your ragman task as quick as possible, because running interchange early game is absolutely ridiculous money between all of the hideout items, all of the tech spawns, and just the general amount of medical loot, filing cabinets, scavs you can kill, loot, everything. It's nuts. Like, interchange is where I try and get to as quick as possible, and that's usually where I end up making a ton of my money. A lot of people sleep on these. A lot of people are going to roll their eyes when I say this. If you are having trouble with your raids, do nighttime raids. Just run nighttime raids. You will be left alone way more than during daytime raids. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, but I don't have any NVGs. Get a cheap flashlight, put it on your gun. Just cheap flashlight. Off you go. That is literally all you need. You do not need NVGs. Yeah, when you unlock them, you can obviously run them at nighttime. But dude, your flashlight is absolutely perfect. It will absolutely do the job for you. And also, cash runs. Cash runs are insane money. Great for getting tons of gear. Armor, helmets, meds, you name it. Pretty much everything spawns in caches. So if you guys are prone to doing cash runs, make sure you do some early game. You can make a lot of money doing them. Now, a couple of PvP tips, right? Do not repeat the same angle twice. Never do it. Never, ever, ever in Tarkov do this. And this is going to lead into my next tip here. Do not chase PvP and avoid early game fights at all costs. Now, you might be saying, Tweak, you fucking pussy, why aren't you fighting in the early game? Well, let me tell you why. So, in the early game, what are we all doing? We're running around looking for quest items, trying to do our quests. We're trying to level up. Why are we trying to level up? So we can get off the really bad guns that we all start the wipe with. Okay, are you seeing where I'm going here? We want to get away from using bad armor. We want to get away from using bad guns, bad helmets, shitty backpacks, shitty chest rigs, right? We want to get onto using like nice plate carriers. We want to get onto using visored helmets, using more modded guns and better stuff, okay? Now, tell me, why on God's green earth would you ever want to risk your kit to some naked dickhead running a shotgun? What is the point? There is nothing for you to gain there other than a shitty shotgun. If he kills you, he gets all of your stuff. You kill him, yeah, you get his stuff, but it's probably worthless and not worth risking your life over. In the early game, the people that come out on top of every single wipe are the people that get through the early game the fastest and survive the most, so that you can get to visors and get your quests done, level up, unlock all the stuff that you need, and then you can start killing all the Timmies. Also, avoid bosses in the early game. It's just not worth it. Bosses, even in the end game, will one-tap the most geared of players. And taking that coin flip of fighting Rashala in the early game, yes, you might get an Alton. Yes, you might get, you know, a Slick if you're really lucky. Yes, you might get a 308 MDR, a couple of AKs or whatever. You got to remember, if you don't have a big backpack, you can't take most of this stuff with you. And also, there's a chance that any of those guards just straight up one-tap you and all the shit gear that you're going to be using in the early game. So, if I were you, I would avoid fighting scab bosses in the early game, unless, of course, you have a quest for it, okay? If you have a quest for it, then, of course, go for it. And also, lads, loot all the hideout stuff you find. I wouldn't even recommend leveling up the hideout unless you're interested in getting maxed out soft skills, in which case, you know, you're going for the air filter and all that kind of stuff. But in the early game, you want to make yourself an absolute shitload of money just selling hideout items, stocking up on hideout items as soon as you unlock the flea market. You dump all that stuff, you make literally over 100k for one corrugated hose. Not even kidding. It is ridiculous. So guys, that is it for my early wipe. I guess how to get a head start, a couple of tips and tricks and stuff. I hope you guys find this video useful. And if you do, please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, share it with a buddy. And lads, I'll see you guys in the next video. Good luck on the wipe. Peace out, my dudes.